Wow, dude, welcome to our extra special fucking pre-Resident Evil 8 predictions recording.
We realize that the episode is not going to be out in time for the game because I'm slow as shit at editing, and this will just be something simple. It's me and Brandon. I'm Anthony.
We recorded a podcast yesterday, and in my week, I forgot to do this.
So Resident Evil 8, very predictions. Clearly, Ethan is Chris's daughter from the future.
Nice.
It's
And he's also Wesker.
Yeah, and it's the unofficial sequel slash crossover to the end of Dino Crisis 2 when Regina goes back in time and then the series dies and you never know what's going on.
Oh God, I hope you get to like the basement of the castle on RE8 and there's just like a time machine and a velociraptor jumps out
That'd be so good. Even if it's
and
just
then
for
and then
one thing.
Regina is like chasing it. Are you ready? You
Y-
want some of my big brain predictions? Because I'll
Yeah,
fucking
you
start.
you you start.
All right. Here's what I'm gonna go with.
Okay.
I think now this is like I'm also excited to do this because it's a nice little time capsule I can go back to when I'm done playing the game, like a week from now or something, and I can just see how many of these we nailed or like how completely off base we were.
Okay.
But I also want I think it's important to preface that I have not watched shit. So like people have been putting out reviews with their pre-release copies, and I haven't seen any of that. So I'm very much doing this all just off my brain. Um, and like the first trailer or so. I think that Chris, we all know that he like murders Mia and steals Ethan's kid at the start of the game, right? I'm of the opinion that while they are trying to frame him as a pseudo antagonist, that he's doing what he's doing for a good reason,
Right.
but his methods are extreme. And you'll learn what the good reason is at some point in the game, but you can question how he went about it. You know what I mean? And I
Right.
think maybe his reasoning is going to be something like Mia is like still working with the connections or something like that, and he like goes vigilante and just like kills her in the fucking like uh like weird witness protection house that Blue Umbrella has them in, which I believe is what that is at the start of RE8. And then he takes the kid. Here's my big brain prediction. All right.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
This is the big brain part of my prediction. The big brain part of my prediction is the reason he takes the kid. It doesn't explain why he wouldn't just kill it, but I think the reason he takes the kid is because as a side effect of like Evelyn based infection, if Mia and Ethan have a child, they're essentially giving birth to a new E series, like Evelyn Part 2. And
Ooh.
somehow he knows that, so that's why he's taking the kid. Once again, that doesn't explain why he doesn't just kill it. Like I don't know why he wouldn't just curb stomp the new Evelyn baby as opposed to like stealing it, but I that's my prediction. The
I
kid
would
is like a
say
new Evelyn.
I would say I wasn't thinking new Emmeline, but I was thinking new Wesker baby. And I don't mean like literally Wesker baby, but Resident Evil is kind of a silly series. It dresses it up in like horror and realism, but there's some goofy shit always going on
Oh
constantly.
yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, because she was you know, came across this virus, her mom had it, she got cured, which was like another fetus was essentially ejected into her mom, and I don't know. Maybe it's the fetus being reborn in some Buddhist shit. I don't know, or something like that. But long story short, genetically, the kid is a super baby, and
Yeah.
that's why he would take it and not kill it. Um, because why he would then kill the mom who hasn't done anything wrong though instead?
Yeah,
That's
that's
a
the part that's
question.
a little
I'm
fucky.
gonna imagine that like again, these are not even remotely based on real things, so they could make any bullshit that they want. So it's like the cure will be fine for the child, or maybe make a betterer cure, or some shit. But yeah, in 20 years, Maria, she's just gonna go nuts again, and it's like there's nothing you can do about it. She didn't turn into an anime princess like Zoe, so we just gotta shoot her. There's no merchandising in Crazy Wife. Um, but Super Baby and Anime Redneck, now that's we could sell some toys on that.
Oh hell yeah, we can do.
So yeah, I
Devil May
think
Cry redneck.
I think the baby is taken, and that she will eventually be a protagonist of a future Resident Evil game.
Wow, you think you're going? Wow, you're going very big brain. You're saying that they're going to like Sherry Birkin, the child, where
No,
like Sherry was the
I think they're
character in
gonna.
RE6.
But here's the thing: Sherry Birkin wasn't like involved too much. Like she had a story, but her backstory was that she was just uh, a daughter. But like because she's so involved, maybe that's even why Chris ends up taking. Maybe he was supposed to kill her, but instead he's gonna train her to be a secret badass. And just like him, she'll be a fighter pilot at age 15.
Yeah, age 50. A storied military career at pre-adulthood.
Yeah, didn't even pass college, but was already
Sherry Birkin,
major.
Sherry Birkin was a pretty big part of RE6 though. She had that big dumb like X-Men style healing factor bullshit going on. Do you remember that?
No, yeah, I knew
As a
that.
result of her infection, and
Oh,
she was
right,
like a
Birkin.
big.
I'm sorry. I was mixing her up with Barry's daughter that was in Revelations.
Oh God, yeah. I haven't even played Revelations 2 yet, so
Sorry.
I don't even know what's up with her. But yeah,
Nothing.
Sherry.
Nothing is up
I
with
was
her.
okay. I was thinking like a Sherry Birkin situation when you said that they'll make her a main character at some point in the future, where Sherry Birkin was like survivor of Raccoon City, suffered whatever the specific infection
Whoa,
was
hold
from her
on.
dad.
Hold on. I just had a brain blast. I got a brain blasty blast. Let's merge our theories. So she's got a bit of
Okay.
that juice, and what is that? What did that do? Aged rapidly, uncontrolled even.
Oh my God. So she becomes like an adult in like 10 years and then gets a game.
Yeah, she could. The possibility exists she could be playable in this game, dude.
Oh my God, you're not wrong. Oh
Think about
no.
it.
Final boss of RE8 is actually like the fetus. It's like, well, the baby. But it's just like through the events of the game, you don't realize it, but it's aging in the background. And then like you get to the end and it's like, now kill your child, Ethan. Kill it.
That would be
As
so
it's like,
sick, though. Actually, I would
that
like
would
that.
actually be kind of cool. I agree with you.
That'd be weirdly Silent Hill.
That would be kind of dope. Wow, that's interesting. I didn't even I didn't even consider the fact that like part of the E series was the whole like Giga aging thing. So that was like the Giga, like Evelyn Giga aged when she like wasn't around the connections. So I think the implication was that they were fighting it somehow.
Yeah,
And then yeah, then she just aged rapidly when that was no longer a factor. But yeah, so okay. So my big brain prediction is just simply that she's like Evelyn 2.0. But yours is a little more in depth.
I might no. The reason I like mine is that it it has the seriousness and the silliness of RE, where it's like, what's the Siri? Okay, so she's a super baby because of genetics, and but then the silly is that makes her really cool potential protagonist
Yeah.
really soon too, like unnaturally soon for what you would think.
God, dude, that's like frightening though, right? Because that's like because if imagine that you're right, that your insane big brain prediction is correct, and the next like big protagonist of like a mainline Resident Evil game is Ethan's crazy BOW child. That opens the door to just like making Resident Evil a weird action game. If like your control, like what if Ethan's new daughter is just like Wesker 2.0 and you're just doing like Matrix shit, and suddenly like Resident Evil 9 is a character action game and you're playing as the Giga Fetus child.
I would be kind of down
Imagine.
with that. I don't know. It all depends on
There's a
how they do it.
timeline out there. There's a parallel universe out there where Dante and Virgil are actually just Resident Evil characters. Never forget. And they're a byproduct of like infection, just turning them into crazy assholes with swords. That was totally what they were initially going to be.
I don't know about that. That's a bit. Oh
That's not
man.
why. That was because like Devil May Cry 1 was supposed to be RE4.
Oh
Remember, like
shit. That's right.
Dante was supposed to be a Resident Evil character before they were like, we should spin this off into something else because this is getting kooky. And then a little ways down the line, they came up with Wesker, and it was like, well, fuck it, whatever, you did it anyway.
I mean, yeah, they've been riding that kooky line pretty much forever. So yeah, this may be like kind of like an RE6 level turning point of just silliness, but for the first person thing. They went back to their roots in 7. They're like slow pathing horror. I even to analyze 7 for a bit, it is so weird. All the slow horror of the house and the ambient horror, and it's so grounded. These are just mutant people. It's one farmstead location. There's not too much silly shit going on besides some shadow doors, but there's also chainsaw fights. It's like
Chainsaw Fight kind of made sense though in terms of the plot. At least I mean, the part that doesn't make a ton of sense is the fact that Jack is making literal Dead Rising weapons and like creating double-bladed chainsaw like clipper weapons, but not the most absurd thing that's been in a Resident Evil game by far.
no, not at all, not in the slightest.
I'm gonna stick with my. I like your prediction for its zaniness and its craziness and its insane possibility of future video game with Ethan's baby child as main character. I'm gonna stick with mine of just simply Chris realizes she's like Evelyn 2.0 in like potentially like a very short period of time due to like the rapid aging, and that's why he like abducts her. And maybe you fight her as like later on in the game or him, whatever the kid is.
Mm.
Um, or you don't, and Chris is just stealing it for who knows what reason. That part's difficult for me to predict because it's like I can't comprehend why he's stealing the kid. But
After killing the mom.
yeah, after killing the mom, but I'm somewhat confident in it's something to do with like lingering E series infection. That's like Chris knows it fucks with the kid somehow.
Well, let's predict that now. So, like, what is Chris's motivations? I think a while back I mentioned something about I don't think Chris is evil. That's just,
Yeah, I think we pretty much all said that it's like
game
he's not
purchase
actually
bait.
evil.
But I mean, there's not much known at all about Umbrella Blue right now. So maybe it is a little bit more like hard nose of an organization. Maybe Hunk is in charge of like the murder people division, and he's
So
getting shit done.
I can answer that a little bit because we know that in RE7 they established that Umbrella Blue is the remnants of Umbrella but reincorporated into a PMC
Mhm.
to just like clean up BOW shit as like a look, we're not assholes anymore. Um, in RE8, I've been trying to avoid as much pre-release stuff as possible, but one thing I do know because I saw it in the trailer was that Chris isn't alone. He actually like has other like blue umbrella dudes with him. And you know this because there's a moment in a trailer where Ethan gets jumped by Chris and like another guy that looks like Tarkov man because he's
Nice.
wearing like the spider eyes like NVGs and he just like jumps you and then you turn to your right and Chris is like leaning up against the wall. So he's not the only one going like vigilante to do whatever it is that he's doing. He basically took a crew of like PMCs from Blue Umbrella with him and is doing whatever it is that he's doing.
But what I'm
But who
saying
knows what the
is
fuck that
like
is?
maybe it's not vigilante. Maybe it's sanctioned. Um,
Oh yeah, maybe.
and then even beyond that, it's like is it genuine? Are these orders genuine? Is Chris being misled? Like maybe there's a corrupt police chief type thing going on. You know, it's hard to say. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting whatever they fucking do with Umbrella Blue because It doesn't make any sense to me at all, honestly. Umbrella Blue.
Yeah, it is weird. I can kind of understand it though, where it's like I don't know. I think RE7 does an okay job of explaining Umbrella Blue, where it's like Umbrella is like considered to be this evil, horrendous company. They fucked so much shit up, but they still kind of exist. So let's like completely shift business models from like anything even remotely related to pharmaceuticals or like bioweapon creation and just we're just a PMC now. Like we're just a private military and you hire us and we just like clean up BOW related messes. It kind of makes sense to just like save like public face, you know?
Yeah.
Become the good guy and spin yourself in a completely different direction. I kind of like it. It's not the worst. Fun fact though about your theory, something I could add is that Chris in RE7, we don't really know if this is different, I think, in RE8, but
Hmm.
Chris in RE7 is still with the BSAA. He's not
Oh,
with Blue Umbrella. He's
I figured he
actually
was.
in his DLC, he says like I'm on loan from the BSAA. The only reason I'm here is because they trust you, like Blue Umbrella and shit. He was like, if the BSAA wasn't okay with this, I wouldn't even be here. So I don't know if that's changed in RE8 and he's like left the BSAA and is with Blue Umbrella, or if he just like had connections with dudes in Blue Umbrella to like get what he's doing done and like converted a bunch of dudes to help him. I don't know. Chris's motivations are hard for me to predict. That's like the one thing in this little shindig we're recording that I don't know if I can accurately predict it because I can't understand why he's stealing the kid. Killing Mia is like more easier because it's like if she's still like interacting with the connections or something like that, then it's like, all right, Chris goes like vigilante and you can kind of question his actions, but he that's like why he kills her and then steals the kid. But if the kid is Evelyn 2.0, why steal it? Like that's the one thing I'm hung up on that I can't
That the
predict.
remaining Umbrella Hardest and Umbrella Blue. We're like, ah, but the money and research though.
We have to save the kid
Yeah,
and
and
sell it
they're
connections.
spinning it in the boardroom where it's like, oh, we can't kill kids, we're better. But like, really, they're wringing their hands. We're like, yes, weapons data, yes.
Ours now.
Now we will have old people.
You know what's a part I forgot this actually until right now. A part that kind of like solidified my prediction of the kid is Evelyn 2.0 is that in the trailer, in one of the early trailers, you get that scene where Mommy Milkers like
Mhm.
sucks on Ethan's blood from his
Right,
hand, and she's like, "Oh, like right before they do it, she's like, let's see what makes you so special," and then she like sucks his man blood,
right.
um, very sensually, and that line to me is a hint at like he still has lingering like mold infection in his blood and that's why they're like they want us to give him the good suck. That's why she's like, oh, there's something that's so special about you and gets all like flustered when she like tastes his man goo because he has lingering like E series shit in him. So and that's why they love it. So I think that combined with the fact that Mia was also infected in the events of RE7 kind of like drives home the idea to me that they're trying to imply lingering side effect of E series infection. Your offspring are maybe just another Evelyn. And that might be why Evelyn was all about like family because maybe it's like some
Mm.
pre-programmed thing of like create family unit. They make more of me, because they're infected.
Oh, that'd be fucked up. That's cool. I like that.
You see what I'm saying? That's my big brain prediction. That's the big part that I forgot that really drives it home for me was is that the part with them sucking the man blood and being like kind of implying that he's still got the goo in him. Um, So that could be it. That could be why Evelyn was always talking about family. That's part of why I think the kid is another like E series. Still doesn't explain why Chris is stealing it instead of like trying to kill it, but I'm sure that will get explained if I'm even right. But
I,
that's my big brain theory for the kid.
I'm kind of interested in what's going on in the village too, because very clearly it's like classic Resident Evil thing where it's like We just fucked up an entire village just 'cause.
Yeah,
We're not sure what the profit margins on this are.
I get like serious how do I put this? I get serious, like almost like Castlevania-esque, like classic vampire story kind of vibes from it because it's like I think it's implied that mommy milkers and the other ones have been around for a very long time, which is
Yes.
something else that they'll have to explain too. Like what made them like this? Is it like some Las Plagas shit where they literally just found it and it's like a naturally occurring infection of some kind, or like what's going on?
I mean,
Um,
Big Mommy D is also implied like very tyrant-esque.
yeah, kind
So
of.
I don't know if it was like maybe it was like ye olde virus experiment because I mean there's been other stupid things where like, even Resident Evil 4 where like the Las Plagas were like fossilized from 1,000 years ago,
Yeah.
and in Resident Evil 5 it's like oh we extracted this from this flower.
Yes, I was gonna bring that up. The fucking flowers from RE5 being a naturally occurring thing that kicked off like everything Umbrella ever did, which is like fucking insane.
So like yeah, think about how many other just like plants there
Yeah.
could be from who knows how long ago and how many strains and things like that. So
So that was like lumping in what you just brought up, like the flowers from RE5 plus like Las Plagas from RE4. That was another like minor prediction I wanted to make, which is that since it seems to be implied that they've mommy milkers and her quote unquote kids have been around since like the 50s or something like that,
mhm.
that it's like some naturally occurring shit that they like stumbled upon and then like got infected with it and they've just been sucking man blood for like 80 years, 70 years,
Yeah,
you
theirs
know?
is clearly shitty because like they're vampires. Like they need a constant intake. Like they're literally vampires. Like they need the blood. Give me the blood, Lord. So maybe that's why this is the first time it's kind of like cropping up because it's some isolated weird medieval place.
Yeah. That's
That's
the well that's the thing, right? Is that what I was kind of getting at is it's like it feels like classic weird like vampire like or almost like Amnesia the Dark Descent story where there's like these crazy people that live in this castle and they terrorize the village. Like it seems like the implication is every once in a while they just abduct people because like the Maiden demo, I don't even know if they'd say what year that takes place in. It could have been fucking like decades before the events of the actual game.
right.
And like you're just a person who seems to be implied that you're from like a village or like one of the villages around the castle and they just totally abducted you to suck your nice man blood.
Yeah, I think
So
again, I think that's entirely it. So obviously it has some good effects and bad effects. Maybe they dealt with Umbrella a little bit, which is why they were basically able to like they have enough economic sway to just like isolate this town and do their thing. Um, Probably some pharmaceutical shit because Resident Evil loves that shit. And but yeah, but the reason why it wasn't really used or researched as intently is it kind of sucks. I mean, you're a vampire. You need the blood, and probably has all sorts of other downsides that we haven't seen yet. I bet you'll mutate you into a giant monster because that happens in every single video game.
oh yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Mommy Milkers is gonna have some giant form with huge milkers
giant form,
at the end of this game.
giant milkers,
It's gonna be awesome.
and oh, I have a sub prediction from that. The daughters you don't need to kill. But since they each are their primary identifiers are the necklace around their neck and their hair color, if you kill them, you get the pendant on the necklace, which then could go into like a crown or something and make it worth more money when you
Like
sell it.
RE4.
Exactly.
Hey, apparently they've said in interviews that their biggest inspiration for this game is RE4.
There you go.
So they it seems like they're implying that this is going to be a first person Resident Evil 4, which is totally fine by me. If this game is anywhere near as good as RE4, then I'm very excited. I mean, for fuck's sake, it even has a merchant in it that will upgrade your guns. So
Welcome.
the fucking influence is clear.
When is he gonna be explained or show up anywhere?
Never. In this
Shut
game.
up. Well,
He'll
yeah,
show up
maybe
in
not this game.
this
He'll have his own Gaiden game spin-off.
game. It's the merchant fucking shit up
Yes.
with his vast plethora of guns.
He doesn't need to buy anything. He has them all.
He doesn't. He owns them. He just sells them.
Yeah, it's weird considering they're all about like international law and all that stuff. Is that this arms dealer who is also clearly infected, a-okay. Let's not even question him.
Nah, you will let him off scot free. He's the only reason Leon succeeded.
That's true.
That's truth. Unless you're like a badass doing a knife only run of RE4, in which case you didn't need him. What else? I feel like I had a different prediction. So I think we're on the same page of
Well, there's a lot of things to touch on because there's a lot of things. On both fortunately and unfortunately, mommy milkers and her daughters have kind of like destroyed all potential discussion and research
yeah,
because it all funnels back to that,
it
which
does.
I'm okay with. Um,
Most people are.
but there are other things like so we got the vampire angle cornered. You think that there's going to be a werewolf section with
Oh God,
maybe a werewolf mom?
I forgot about Bloodborne Man.
Yeah,
Um,
Gascoigne,
who
not Gascoigne.
knows? Yeah, not Gascoigne. Who knows like what his angle is. It seems that he's also infected with something because he's like a Superman who clearly
Mm-hmm.
has some sort of weird abilities and has some crazy melee weapon, and he's probably going to be a boss fight or some shit. Who knows what his entire purpose is for being in the story at all? Um, I can't even begin to make a prediction on that. I
Well,
can't connect him to
that
shit.
that I think is fairly easy. So we got this like medieval stasis town, and just like again, let's look at Resident Evil 4 and even Resident Evil 5 and stuff. Is that there's always underlings, right? So if it is like classic vampire media, there's the counts in the tower, but even Dracula, depending on the lore, he had his vampire brides, he had Igor, depending on which one you're watching. Um, Wesker was working with Exidra or whatever her name was, the Italian broad,
Yeah, I
and that
can't fucking
that stupid arms dealer man who just looked really dumb, was terribly modeled. So I imagine they're queens of the castle and living it up, but you need the mayor. You need the mayor of the town.
uh
You need your Salazar, your little
yes, yours.
Napoleon guy.
Yep. Or oh shit. What was the other guy's name? The guy with the fake eye who turns into a weird caterpillar man in the barn fight in
Oh
RE4.
yeah. Oh shit. The Rasputin looking motherfucker. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. I have no idea. That dude.
Oh my God, how am I forgetting his name? Anyway, yeah, that guy. He might be a stand-in for like something like that. You might
Right.
totally be right. He's just like village chief man who happens to be a badass.
Or right arm of village chief, man. Again, like so far of antagonists, we've only seen the mommy milkers, her daughters, and vampire dude, and then villagers. Four, let's say each of them get like their own boss fight. Like four is fairly low for a Resident Evil game,
Yeah.
assuming that they don't do like a weird nemesis tyrant thing where it just keeps getting coming back more and more mutated. Oh god, there's like terrible fetishism. It's like it's like breast inflation. It's just every time she comes
It's
in.
every time she comes back, it's the only thing that changes is the
She
milker
has like Birkin shoulder eyes at the end
for her milker.
for her chest. Oh.
That's horrifying. I hope you're wrong. Don't do that, Capcom.
Yeah, don't do that.
Someone out there will like that though, but don't do that.
That art already exists somewhere.
Absolutely. You know what my one, so here's kind of a sort of non-specific prediction. So what do we got so far? We had a bit of a difference of prediction on the baby. We have but something clearly going on with the baby, and I think we're kind of on the same page of like the baby has something to do with like the old E series infection or something.
Mm.
Um uh fuck. Village Bloodborne man might just be Village Chief man, according to you. Um, Vampire weird infection stuff might just be some naturally occurring shit they stumbled upon, like umbrella flowers or Las Plagas. Here's
Mm.
another one, right? This is kind of general and like sort of non-specific because I don't know who it's going to be, but we could make wild predictions right now and just see if we're right. So I think that at some point in this video game, another like mainline Resident Evil character that we don't know about from the trailers will show up in this game. Like I don't know if it's going to be like Leon or if it's going to be like Ada or if it's going to be some crazy shit like Rebecca Chambers, but someone's going to walk on screen at some point and be like, "I'm here either because I'm like following Chris or I'm like trying to stop Chris or like whatever. Like I'm also working with Blue Umbrella and I need to try like help or something." But someone else, like a mainline Resident Evil character to like surprise people and get them excited when they show up on screen is going to be in this game.
I
But I
would
don't know who it's
say
going to be.
of candidates, probably most likely would be Ada because she's a spy. Who she's worked for has kind of always been nebulous.
Yeah.
Um, so she could show up at all either to be like, I was working for them the whole time, or I am also spying on them. I need to get a sample of their stupid, naturally occurring shit for my exact same boss, who will whenever we get run out of ideas, they will be the final bad guy
Yeah.
with the virus that's literally just the combination of literally everything from all the games.
I too was going to predict that it's Ada because if I think about anyone else, if it was like a big protagonist, right? Like if it was like Leon, or like if you want like Barry to walk on screen and just like light a fire under people's asses because it's like holy fuck, it's Barry, or if it's like Rebecca Chambers or something like that, these characters have to show up in some sort of like good guy way and like pretenses. So it has to be like, oh, Chris went vigilante or whatever. Leon's here working for Umbrella Blue to try to like put a stop to it. And you like maybe you switch characters at some point from like Ethan to whoever other mainline character is for like a brief instant, or they just show up in like a time of need or some shit. And it's like, yeah, I'm here to try to find Chris. And that's cool and all. But I think it's going to be Ada because Ada is much simpler because
Oh
you can
yeah.
just be like, because you can just be like Ada's working for the connections, like
Mm.
Ada, because she's always kind of just been like a weird merc spy. So it's like Ada's working for the connections. She's coming to try to like retrieve child from Chris or something like that, you know? And so
Yeah.
she has like a little segment where like maybe you control her, maybe you don't. But either way, I
Maybe
agree
it'll
with
be
you, and I was going to make the
DLC.
same. Yeah, or it'll be DLC. But I agree with you. I was going to make the same prediction that I think fucking Ada Wong might show up in this game potentially, especially because of the fucking RE4 kind of like parallel that they keep hinting
Yeah.
at. Um, if you want to get people excited, like if you want a character to walk on screen where everyone's like, "Oh my God, they're back" in like a mainline Resident Evil game, not one of the remakes, who would it be? It's either going to be like Ada or Jill. Those are the two characters that walk on screen in like a mainline RE because we've seen Chris in 7 and now in this one. I think those are the primary two where it's like they show up, people go nuts. But specifically, it's going to be Ada because it's way easier to write her in over anyone
Yeah.
else.
I mean, so now this isn't predictions. This is a wish list I'll check off. Um, for how much
Don't say it. I
uh,
know what you're going to say.
for how much attention?
I know what you're going to say.
Mu- no, you don't. Uh,
I think I do. Are you going to ask for
hold on.
Billy?
Shut up! Damn, you did.
I
For
fucking do.
well, hang on. Let me get around to it because it's not just Billy, but the other ones are far more obvious, I think. Um,
I knew it.
for how much attention a lot of characters get, um, there are a lot of Resident Evil characters that probably have like interesting stories going on that have kind of fallen out of the light and like yeah, you can make a new guy like Ethan was really cool. Um, but for all supplemental stuff, yeah, I liked Billy Cohen. I want to see what he's up to. He survived one of the earliest, and then he's been a vigilante now for like 20 years. He's probably badass. Um, and by vigilante, I mean just a fugitive. That's the correct term that I wanted to say. Um, the hell happened to Hunk? Hunk is awesome. Is certifiably like one of the most badass characters
Oh
in all
God.
of Resident Evil, and he
If
hasn't done anything.
if Hunk somehow dodged like prosecution for his war crimes as part of working for Umbrella, then that would mean that when they reincorporated into a PMC, that he's probably like a good guy now,
Yes,
working for Blue Umbrella,
I
but
want
just
it
solving
so bad.
BOW messes.
Yep,
So like that could be a thing.
give me Mr. Death. If we're going for like weird Victorian Castlevania shit, he could be Death. They called him Mr. Death. Bring him
That's
in.
true.
What happened to Jake Muller? That very important character.
God,
And then anyone from Resident Evil Outbreak. Fucking
please
anyone.
no. I was gonna literally, as you were talking in my head, I was brainstorming. I had an idea for what I wanted to bring up next, and my next question was gonna be flip side of the conversation. What's the worst character that could walk on screen to generate anti-hype? And I thought of Jake. It was gonna be my answer. When I after I pitched it, I was gonna be like, my answer is Jake. Please don't bring Jake Muller on screen, dude. Don't do that.
He
I'll get
was he
hype if
I
like Ada walks on screen. I'll get negative hype if Jake Muller
Nah, here's
walks on screen.
I think Jake Miller got a bad rap just because he's in a terrible game. His concept is fine. His character's okay. I hate that he has superpowers, but they kind of solve that at the end, so it's like he could be an interesting character. He's got that stank of Resident Evil 6 on him. It's gonna be hard to wash that off.
That's the problem, dude, is how he comes with the stigma. He comes with that gross smell of RE6. It's really unfortunate. And I know that's unfair. That's not fair of me to be like, fuck, I don't want Jake just because of the game that he's from, but like it's true. I kind of don't want him. Cuz here's the thing. Jake, you're not wrong that like Jake isn't the worst. He just comes from a really shitty game.
Mm.
And that's unfortunate. But there are so many other characters that haven't been in like a mainline RE game. Like they've been in the
Yes.
remakes, like Jill, Ada, Leon. But realistically, we haven't seen a lot of those characters for quite some time. I mean, like Leon and Ada were in RE6, but like, whatever. If it has to be someone who was from RE6, I'd much rather someone like Leon, Ada, something like that. Fuck, bring back Sherry for fuck's sake. Like I think
Yeah, Sherry would be cool.
if there's anything cool about RE6, right? And I hate RE6, but if there's anything cool about it, it's that they brought Sherry back as like an agent who's doing stuff. That's a really neat thing. Like that's a cool character to bring back and give some like agency. That's really sick. So I think it would be really cool if like Sherry walked on screen, even though that's probably not going to happen. I hope it's not Jake. Like Ada, Sherry, Jill, Leon, but Leon might be a little on the nose considering how like kind of RE4-ish this game is. But any of those characters and just not Jake Muller.
All right, we'll narrow down the wish list. Who do you want from Outbreak to suddenly show up? Because they mentioned Ashcroft in
They do, which
fucking
is like
7,
a hard confirm that they lived, or at least some of
or at
them
least
lived.
some of them lived.
Shit.
David was my boy, but I don't know if I want to see him. Um, of Resident Evil Outbreaks, I would love to see.
David was like the like maintenance guy
Yeah,
who
that
like
was
did
David.
this with one hand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the Vietnam vet turned mechanic. He could
yeah.
throw wrenches like nobody's business and did sick knife combos. I would like to see Jim. Jim was the black guy that you could flip coins for
Yeah,
better
yeah.
crits, and he would,
Jim
and
was
he
cool.
had the best voice clip of anyone with the "My life is shit."
I was watching remember when I messaged you and I was like, look at this shit. You can play Outbreaker right now if
Yeah,
you emulate it and there are people with like unofficial servers and stuff. I was watching Max play it and one of them was playing him and I forgot about that voice line. When I first heard it, I lost my shit
that's such a
being
good voice
reminded that
clip.
that exists.
Yeah, I also liked Kevin's "God damn it." That stuff will be in my head for like until I die.
Oh, that game was a fucking treasure, dude. It's a shame that fucking Capcom forgot about it.
They released one sequel and then they forgot about
Damn, now I'm looking at like a list of characters from Outbreak for just for the sake of prediction.
it. Well, unfortunately, there were all those alt skin characters, so the thing is very padded out that it doesn't need to be. I mean, you got Mark was the security guy. Oh, who was the doctor? I don't remember the doctor's name.
George Hamilton,
There you go.
Raccoon General Hospital.
George should definitely be in a because like they slightly alluded that he did some umbrella shit, but
Did
he
they?
had yeah, that he was
I didn't
like
know that.
somewhat involved in the doctor side like of things. Like he kind of knew about it. I don't know if he was like super involved, but he was probably of the main cast besides what was her name, Yoko? Besides the one that was literally a umbrella scientist,
Yoko Suzuki.
he was like the closest uh, related to them.
I think the easiest one, if you're gonna bring anyone back from Outbreak, it would be the people who are like cops slash like Kevin or like Mark or something like that, because you could just be like they've advanced their career into doing crazy like paramilitary shit and they're working for like Blue Umbrella and then Kevin Ryman like and it could just be like a one like there's a dude with a helmet on and someone goes, "Hey Kevin," and then like you hear his voice or something and it's like extremely
They
similar.
just they
And
use the same voice clip where it's just he's off screen and it's like
God
Kevin.
damn it.
Yeah.
They're never gonna do that, but that would be sick.
Jim, you're on cleanup duty. My life is shit.
My life is shit.
You don't even have to do that. You don't even need a voice clip for Jim. You just need like anyone with a Demolition Man haircut flipping a coin for like 2 seconds, and it's
That's
like,
true, yeah.
oh, there's Jim.
Uh it's fun to brainstorm that. It's never gonna
It's
happen
never gonna
because
happen. No one
Capcom
would
doesn't
remember.
care about Outbreak.
Cindy,
Capcom cared enough about Outbreak to name Alyssa Ashcroft on a newspaper in like the first hour of RE7, and like that's all we'll ever get.
yeah, it's unfortunate.
Actually, you know what? That's not true. Um, I recently learned that in RE3 remake, and I didn't notice this when I was playing it myself. In RE3 remake, when you're in the beginning of the game, so I was watching someone else play it, and they pointed this out. And you're in the streets. You walk up at one point to like a cop car, and you can hear the radio. And on the radio, it's a guy being like, "I'm in this bar. I have these survivors with me. Like, we need help. Blah blah blah." And it's Kevin.
That's awesome.
And I didn't know that. I missed it completely when I was playing the game myself, but someone pointed it out, and it was like, "Holy fuck, that's really cool." That they reference Outbreak in the like Raccoon City incident during RE3 remake. That's very fucking neat. So people like Capcom do remember that it exists. It's just we'll never
I
see
just
anything.
can't believe it, man. Like this is like a side gripe, but it's like,
That's fine. Listen, the people who clicked on this for REA predictions got most of them already, so
yeah,
now we can just bitch about Outbreak.
yeah, because it's like every like multiplayer attack on thing and like solo spin-off thing have just been absolute failures. And but like nowadays I feel like Outbreak would be so perfect. Especially with things like Dead by Daylight and stuff going on and like whatnot. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people would really like Outbreak.
I fucking agree with you. I think what they could do instead of making like Capcom, I was thinking about this the other night actually, that Capcom clearly wants to have like a successful games as a service style like platform game, and that's why they keep trying with these like tacked on shitty games like RE Resistance and now this next one RE Verse or whatever, which is probably also going to fail because I bet no one's going to stick around on that. Like people will do with that what they did with Resistance. They'll turn it on, they'll play it like a little bit, and then they'll ignore it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's not gonna have longevity. And it's like all you gotta do is like stop tacking these shitty multiplayer games onto your mainline games. Make like one that is just intended to be like a multiplayer game and style it after like Outbreak, but with some of like the modern flair of Resident Evil. Like have it play like RE2 or RE3 remake, but have it essentially be Outbreak. Like you and
Yeah,
like
it seems
three, four
so
other
simple.
people, yeah, are in like a scenario. You could even just recreate some of them from the Outbreak games, but like, modern graphical style and like mechanics of the remake games. And like that could be a fucking hit.
For the
Even like you
longest time,
reuse the Outbreak name.
when I first played Resident Evil 4, the scene with the village, and even later, the other holdout scene where you could knock down ladders and barricade doors very like shittily and stuff like that, always in my the back of my mind would be like that would be like one of the greatest multiplayer experiences, like literally that but with multiple people. So you could work together and you could barricade doors. Someone could just like while out and just go out like shooting and like either die alone or escape on their own, but like it's like easy money in my brain.
Yeah.
Like to just like here's a big old sandbox. There's zombies. You can barricade doors. Have fun. I would play that like forever.
Some people, I think people, if I think there are some people out there who, if they heard you say that, they would come back at you with, well, there were Mercenaries games that had multiplayer. And it's like, yeah, that's a thing. But in my mind, I'm picturing like a more linear and like interesting experience, like an Outbreak scenario, where
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? But like it plays how you're saying, but it's like Outbreak. So it's like there are objectives and like maybe you have to split up and you can't hear each other unless you're like close to each other, like so like proximity voice essentially. And then like you have to solve these problems together, just like Outbreak, but it plays like a modern Resident Evil game. Like that would be very fucking cool.
Oh yeah, that I think would be the best, but I'm thinking even like for something more simple. And honestly, Mercenary is fine. I think of all the various offshoots, that's probably the other most enjoyable kind of like spin-offy just for fun Resident Evil there's been. Don't do like Umbrella Chronicles too. Don't do that.
No, yeah, none of that. But
As much as I love Hunk and the fact of like Black Ops teams in Zombie Town is cool, um, all the games you've ever made trying to do that have been absolutely terrible. So
yeah,
don't do it anymore. Just stop.
yeah. Did Capcom even make Umbrella Chronicles in house, or Operation Raccoon City in house, or did they farm that out? I honestly don't remember.
I don't know. Doesn't matter. They still gave their blessing, which is also as
Yeah.
wrong. You know.
At the end of the day, it got made.
Yeah. At no point did someone walk over and go, "Whoa, look at this piece of shit."
Well, there's our little side fucking Outbreak, bitching and complaining. What were our predictions? Do we even have anything else, or should we just wrap it up? But essentially, child. What? You got something?
Kind of something. It's like I just think of like what else is there to the game? Especially if they're going off of Resident Evil 4. We've seen a village, we've seen a castle.
Oh, you're gonna say I was gonna say this too, and I think I know what you're getting at.
Like
But go for it.
what are the other zones? What's the
Yeah.
military base equivalent? What's the island equivalent? who's in charge there? Because each area had its own kind of like boss.
Yeah.
So far, all we know is Gascoigne and vampire people, and I don't think that's enough. I also think because of that, I think it is following that formula, and people are going to be super disappointed because there's been all this hype and jerking off and everything about like Vampire Mommy. I She doesn't strike me as the one behind it all, especially because she's already juiced up with something that has negative side effects, and there's also the trailer where she's on the phone, clearly pissed off. She answers to someone. She's not gonna be in the game a super long time.
Yeah. I agree with you.
Who
So
the
I
hell is that?
essentially like the idea of like if you're following the RE4 format, right? So you go village, castle, island. So what's the island equivalent in this game? And when you get there, it's clearly not still going to be mommy milkers. So like who is it? And then people might be like what you said, they might be mad that like the game isn't building up to mommy milkers confrontation, it's building up to whoever the fuck is in the last area that we haven't seen yet because the trailers won't show us that. It's interesting to think about. I hope if that's true, that whatever the island equivalent is of this game, that it's good and it's not like a shit ending to the game. Because even with RE4, like RE4 is a fucking masterpiece, but you can't deny that the island is probably the worst of the three major locations. Like it's not bad, but it's not as good as the village or the castle. So I
Yeah.
hope this game is in a similar situation where you get to the island equivalent and it just becomes kind of a slog, almost exactly like the last half of RE7. Like the mines in RE7 where the game's just like, here's a bucket of fucking ammo, like just shoot through dozens of molded until you get to the last boss. And then it's like a lame fight that's super uninteresting. So like I hope RE8 doesn't end like that. One would think that they've learned their lesson from the criticisms of RE7, but who knows? Do we got anything else, or is that pretty much the
I
gist?
mean, that's pretty much the gist, at least for
All right,
me.
let's fucking go. So, okay, we have child is something infected in some way, shape, or form. Chris kills
They
Mia. We
will
don't totally
either
know why.
they will either be the antagonist or the protagonist
Yeah.
because
So
of
either
this.
so I think we're somewhat on the same page of child is probably still has some relation to the Evelyn based infection that both of the child's parents suffered in RE7. Either
Mhm.
you're going to fight the child in some accelerated aging process during the events of RE8 or you're not, and as you said, the child will be the protagonist of a future video game in some insane fashion. Chris murders Mia maybe because she's like still working with the connections or some shit behind like Blue Umbrella's back. Um, the vampire people are the product of some naturally occurring infection, a la like RE5 or like Las Plagas.
Mhm.
Um, Bloodborne Man might be village chief dude, essentially just like the guy from RE4. A mainline RE character is going to walk on screen that we haven't seen in trailers, and I think we both predicted that it's probably going to be Ada because that's the easiest thing to do. Maybe we'll be right.
Alternatively, they will be in the DLC.
Alternatively, they'll just be DLC. Like they'll show up at the end, like Chris does in RE7, and then it'll be like, come back later when we sell you this, even though not a hero is free. But maybe it won't be free this time around. Um, and also structure. It might be RE4 structure. There might be an island equivalent at the end. Hopefully, it doesn't suck. And we just haven't seen it in trailers yet. Is that it? Did I hit all of it?
I would say the only things that you're missing is that someone will definitely be defeated and then mutate into a giant stupid monster.
Absolutely. But that's like, do we even have to predict that? That's like a Resident Evil
No, this
staple.
is the free one, so we could say our predictions was correct, and we get to
That's true. Yeah.
ignore all the things that we're wrong about.
We get one on the board that we're definitely right about,
Hell yeah.
and it's that someone's gonna mutate into a giant giga beast. Mommy Milkers with her giga tits in
Oh,
her.
I also did the side prediction that the daughters are optional and you could sell their pendants.
Yes, you can slot them into crowns and
Yes.
things of that nature.
It may not be a crown, but it will definitely be a device that has slots.
Yes, complete RE4 like relic item stand-in mechanic or treasure. Sorry, I
And
think it
there you
was what it
go.
was called.
There's our predictions.
That's it. come on back at some point when we confirm whether or not we got it right or we're horrible at this and we fucked everything up.
Then we definitely got one thing right, which means we
I'll
got
give
it all right.
I'll give a spoiler-free review of the game next time we record the podcast, and I will try really hard. I will probably just say, depending on how far I am by the time we record next week, I'll just say some of what we said was right or some of what we said was wrong, and then I won't go into specific.
Excellent.
But I'll do that minimally.
Thanks for listening to Two Man Ramble about a very silly Japanese series.
I hate all of you. Please listen to our podcasts. Thank you.
Bye bye.